Hey everyone, doing a live video here on this channel. I wanted to let you all know that there's a second channel that you should be following because we do live videos on there as well. Can you hear me okay? I'm going to flip over to that channel and put a link down in the description. And I'm going to talk about ALF, opening an ALF. Going to talk about, there's the channel. You need to subscribe to that channel as well because we'll be doing more live videos on there. This channel will talk about the business side of things a little bit, but we'll also be talking about finding the right property, the real estate side of things. So I just wanted to take a moment and tell you a brief moment about the process about opening your ALF. Now, the first step, of course, is going to be get the required training, core training in Florida. Other states have different types of training. And then you find the location. And a lot of people just rush out and get the location, but it's really an important step. And wherever you live, you're going to have to make investments into that location. Whether it's fire alarms, modifications to the bathrooms, wheelchair ramps, exit lights. Some fire marshals will make you change the doors to all the bedrooms to be solid core doors. There can be a lot of investment into the infrastructure of the house, not to mention backup generators if required, modifications to the kitchen. So when you're looking at getting the location, you want to slow down, okay? Slow down, because you have to also understand that the process can take a while to make those modifications. So if you're going to run out and get a lease or run out and buy a house, some people call me and they're already like, I'm in contract on a house and I'm running. Well, you have to understand that when you close on the house, you may be vacant. It may take 6 months. It may take a year. You have to understand what the requirements are. So can that house be vacant for a year? Can you rent the house out to cover your expenses? Oh, my light just turned off. And so, can you hear me okay? What are the requirements for your house? And so I just wanted to say we're doing a live business training. We're going to be adding that into what we do. It's live in-person training with me, another trainer, and possibly sometimes my wife will be there, and we'll be talking about everything we know about the business side of things. It'll be a one-day boot camp. It's 8 hours. The first 10 people, it's only $200. The next 10, it'll be more expensive, and the next 10, it'll be more expensive. It's in January, but this video, you may see it. We're going to be doing these throughout the year. So go to the website, myalftraining.com, and you can see the latest dates. But the most current one is in January, $200, right outside of Orlando in Cocoa, Florida, which is about a 45-minute drive, 30-minute drive from the airport. $200, we're going to cover a lot of things about opening your ALF, marketing, setup, picking the right location. We'll try to pack as much as we can into that day. And I can tell you that you're not going to find anything like it anywhere. $200 to come and learn about the business side of things. It's more valuable than taking the business training in person the core training in person, because core training is just about the rules that govern assisted living facilities. So how many days do you have to get this form completed? How many days do you have to report an incident? And if you go to in-person training and you ask your instructor, hey, I want to know how you do your marketing. $200 at home. $200 at our Brenda. The class is $200 in person in Cocoa, Florida. January is the first one. You can go to our website. Let me see if I can find the link here. I think, let me find the link for you. If you go to myalftraining.com and here we go. There's the link. You can go directly there or read about it. The live training. Now, like I said, the first 10 spots are going to be $200. The next 10 spots are going to be more expensive, and then the next 10, I think we'll cap it at that amount. And we've already got people registering. So it'll be me, another trainer, and another consultant trainer who runs a small home. Has been very successful. And we're going to talk about, let's see here. Steps to open your ALF, renting versus buying, picking the right location, understanding your competition, your USP or your unique selling proposition, marketing and branding, and then if we can fit it in, or if Sheila wants to do it the next day, we'll do a facility tour of her facility, maybe an extra charge. Have any questions for me? No questions? So when you pick your location, a lot of people just rush out and do it. You need to go check with your zoning. You need to check with your fire marshal. You need to find out what the requirements are. Is it going to be more than 10 beds, or there may be different requirements altogether over a certain number of beds? So I talked to somebody the other day. They thought, hey, I have 7 bedrooms, so I can turn it into 14 beds. Not necessarily. You need to do your research. And I don't want people to make mistakes when they're coming into this, because I know that people can be successful, but I want them to make the right moves, not make any mistakes. So, to me, this business is the opportunity is not going anywhere. So don't rush out and make bad decisions just because you want to leave your day job. It doesn't mean this is going to be a quick fix. You need to do it smart, take your time, start to build foundations of knowledge. And the way you do that is start coming to these type of events, buy our online business training, start with the core training, start to educate yourself, start to meet other people. Maybe you'll meet other people who want to open an ALF, and maybe you want to partner with them, because 2 of you or 3 of you or 4 of you can do a lot more than just one. It has to be the right person, but if you're going to invest, say, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into building a business, what if you found 3 other people and you can invest $200,000? And hey, Alex, I'm glad you're off today too. But I want you guys to, I posted a link up above. Live training is going to be, it's just outside of Orlando in Cocoa, Florida, because the reason why is we got a great location. It's near where our other consultant trainer is. So it's just outside of Orlando in Cocoa, Florida. It's on our website. It's January 11th. It's a Saturday. And then we'll be doing another one probably in March. Not sure where, maybe the same location. But at $200, it won't be $200 the next time. And but what I was saying is there's a link up here to the other YouTube channel that we have. It's called My ALF Training. So you're all subscribed to My ALF Consultant. I wanted to merge the 2 channels, but YouTube wanted me to eliminate some of the subscribers. So I'm keeping My ALF Consultant. I'll be posting videos about finding the right property. It'll be more on the side of the real estate side of things. We'll also be doing a lot more live videos on the other channel. I have a lot more subscribers there. So be sure you're subscribed to both so you don't miss anything. So picking the right location. Understanding that the process is going to take time. Just submitting the application, you got to give the state up to 3 months. And they may have errors. You may have missing pieces. And if you're missing pieces in your application, then it's going to set you back further. And so you need to allow yourself at least 3 months from when you submit the application. And every state may be different, but you know what you can do? You can just call the licensing agency and ask them what their time frame is. And sometimes they'll say, well, they're very technical and they'll follow their rules. But you need to give yourself time from when you submit the application, missing information, then they come out, then the surveyor is going to do an inspection of your facility. You may be missing things there that you need corrected. So you need to understand that. So there's 3 months, let's just say 3 months for once you submit your application, but compiling the information that you need to submit your application could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months, even more. Depends on what you need to do to the house. Depends if you have the house. So I just want to reiterate, don't rush out and get the house. Start to understand that this is a process, and there's no quick fix to anything. I mean, people think like, I'm just going to go rent a house, and I'm going to go buy a house, and I'm going to go get the license. It's a long-term investment. So build your foundation. So you pick the right location, you get the right house, you have a knowledge of what you're doing. And if you work in it in advance, you can even build up some sort of foothold into the market. And here, there's so many ways you can do that. Start to pre-market, start to build networks, start to build connections. Build your Facebook page about helping people. Anybody have any questions? How about a like? Can I get a like? Can you guys give me some likes? Okay. Anyway, so I want to reiterate, subscribe to the other YouTube channel. Look at our in-person training. I put a link in the chat box. I'll put one underneath the description as well. So what are your startup costs? Now, your startup costs, I think anywhere, getting a home under contract. How does that work? Thank you, Alex. Getting a home under contract. Well, I mean, you could buy it or you can rent it. Those are ways you could put it under contract. But before you do any of that, I mean, you definitely need to figure out, is it better to rent? Is it better to buy? Is that what you mean? So anywhere you go in the country, you are going to have fire safety requirements. The fire safety requirements are going to be there's something called NFPA 101, which is National Fire Prevention Association. Okay, yeah. So before you put anything under contract, start to build your foundation of what it is you're going to do. Rent, buy, understand the investment that you're going to make as far as fire safety standards, modifications to bathrooms, ramps, generators, those type of things. And, try to understand, do I want to make that investment in a rental house? Can I find a house that used to be an ALF? Those things do come up. People do go out of business. Some of those modifications are already done. But that's, that's something that you build on a foundation. So the National Fire Prevention Association has fire safety standards. You can look up NFPA 101, and every fire marshal across the country takes these standards and then they apply them and they interpret them. So everybody, you'd think there'd be national standards, but every city, every fire marshal interprets them differently, or maybe understands their requirements differently. I know of a city where they don't even require a fire alarm. So most fire marshals will at minimum require a fire alarm with the pull stations, and the pull stations will set off all the alarms with the lights flashing and everything. Some fire marshals will require exit lights. Some fire marshals, some cities put ordinances that require you to have fire sprinklers. Fire sprinklers in a house can be between $10,000 and $15,000. Fire alarms can be between $2,000 and $5,000, depending on the size, number of bedrooms, and requirements. So you have to understand if you find a house that you're interested in. If you have some broker that's just trying to sell your house, you may rush into something and realize that, yeah, it's a 4-bedroom house, but in this city, they're going to limit me to only 5 residents. And so I know there's people out there offering programs, and they tell people you can do 8 bedrooms. You get a 4-bedroom house, you can do 8 bedrooms. And that's not true. You need to find out what your limitations are, what your requirements are. And so that being said, there's startup costs that you need to factor in. So installing the alarms, installing fire alarms, installing interconnected smoke detectors and emergency lights, getting your permit or license to serve food to people in a group setting, those require time. So you can't do those things until you control the property. So if you control the property, whether it's renting or owning, from the day you own the property, you start making the modifications. That could take 3 months. It could take longer. You could contact the fire alarm company, and they could tell you that they're backlogged and they can't even get you in on the schedule for this much time. Let's say you want to make modifications to the bathrooms, then you got to get contractors. Maybe you don't. Are you putting grab rails in there? And you definitely will put grab rails. And is the owner of the property going to let you make some of those modifications? Those are things that you need to factor into your decision-making process. And if the economy changes and the real estate market gets softer, you're going to find a lot more opportunities to find properties to lock up. So I want you to understand that just because there's an opportunity, it's not going to go away. I mean, the aging population is coming. The baby boomers are coming. There's a need for people to be in smaller homes, smaller facilities. You can learn the business in a smaller place, and then you can grow into bigger places. I talked to a lady who has 4 small places, 4 small homes. And I talked to her about possibly going to one bigger one, 20 or 30 or 40 residents. Now, after you gain your experience, after you save up more money because you've had your business, there's business loans that will allow you to take your existing business and expand it for 20% down. So 20% down on a $1 million property is $200,000. Seems out of reach right now, but it's definitely something that is a possibility and is a plan. It's a long-term plan. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. But that's anything in life. It takes time, but it's definitely a path you can take. So the opportunity's there. If you build your foundation of knowledge, if you find an opportunity with the real estate market softening or something changing where somebody just needs to rent it, and they can rent it to you for a premium because their mortgage is too high, they can't rent it at the normal rent rate, and so they'll let you rent it at a higher than normal rent rate as an assisted living, but it's still a great deal. And you might be able to pick up a couple of those once you build the foundation of knowledge. And it could be the knowledge you start out with one, and then when that market change happens or something happens or an opportunity comes to you, you're going to be able to jump on it, like our consultant partner who just had an opportunity to take over a closed ALF, which will be 14 beds. And the owner of the property is partnering with this person to bring it back up to speed. And the reason why the owner of the property is doing that is because this person has experience, has a track record, knows what they're doing, and it's an amazing opportunity. But those opportunities come to people who put themselves out there and start to understand the process, understand what needs to be done. So if you're just joining us, I want you to understand we have 2 YouTube channels, okay? My ALF Training, My ALF Consultant. And we're going to be doing in-person live business training. Now, a lot of people come to me and they want to do the administrator training in person. Administrative training, you will be shortchanged if we do it in 4 days because it's a lot of information. And if you come to that, if you go to any administrator training, I don't care where you are in the country, there's administrator type training. They're going to teach you the rules and regulations for operating your ALF. If you have a question and you want to know, how do you do your marketing? How much should I charge for my residents? What are your startup costs? The instructor is going to say, that's a great question. Why don't you see me after the class today, and I'll tell you about my consulting services where I will charge you a lot of money. You're not going to get what you think you get out of it. So our core training in online is a great way to learn the rules and regulations to prepare you for the state exam, because ultimately that's what it's about. It's about passing the state exam, getting your administrator license, and then starting the process of opening your assisted living facility. The business training, you are not going to find anything like it for $200 starting price, and that's only as of today, December 11th, and it's only for the first few people that come in, and then we're going to raise the price. And it's just so that we can understand what people are looking for. We're thinking of making it multiple days, like beginning, middle, 101, 201, 301, 401, because when you open a facility, you can't, there's so much to learn along the way. You can't learn it all at one stage. And if you're interested, we might even make a Facebook group specific for people who are opening ALFs. I don't know if you're interested in that, and you guys can help each other out. Won't be, once you are an open ALF, once you're open and you're licensed, then you can join our Facebook group that we have for administrators. And it's got 900 administrators in the state of Florida, and we help each other out, answer questions. And that's going to be a resource for you once you open. But the process of opening, I think we're thinking of setting up something as well. So register for the in-person training. I think it's very valuable. It's an opportunity that may not be there. Don't rush into anything. Take your time, learn, meet other people, learn. Coming to the event, if there's 30 other people who are opening an ALF, you're going to be able to connect with them as well. So as we do this, that's where I think we'll probably build that group, that Facebook group, that a way to connect with other people. And I mentioned it earlier, but it's something to consider, that if you start to meet other people that want to do the same thing that you want to do, it is possible to partner with them and bypass some of these earlier stages. You could partner and buy an existing business, especially if you have some experience like in healthcare, like you're a nurse or something like that. Then buying an existing assisted living facility may be a good option, but you may need to team up with other people to get that done. So being a bigger ALF affords you to hire like more professional management. It allows you to pay your employees more. One thing about the assisted living business is you have a cap, okay, at the number of residents you can bring in. So your revenue is capped at, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even if you're 50 beds, your cap is here. And there are times when, to be honest, if you're doing marketing right and you've been in the business, where residents, I don't know if it's a full moon, but people seem to all come around the same time. Sometimes that's the way it works. So let's say you have 5 residents. Let's just pick a happier number. Let's say you have 8 residents, and then 2 of them pass, or 3 of them pass. You're down to 5 residents, but you have a capacity of 8, right? So then you have 8 people come and you could fill 8 rooms, but you're capped at your capacity. So that's the limit. You drop down 3, but you can only gain 8. And you have a certain threshold to cover your expenses. Having those extra rooms allows you to capture more residents when the market is hot, and then your drop will be a little lower. So if you had 15 beds and you could fill it 15 beds, well, your drop might only be to 4 down. So your above watermark is easier to maintain. And that extra revenue that you can compile during busier months can afford you losses or offsets during months when, it is true, you will lose residents. I mean, that's part of the business. 1 year, it just piled up and I had 9 vacancies. I mean, we were 32 beds, but you will lose residents. It's part of the business. So, and a lot of people make the mistake of marketing. Like if you fill up and you're full, and if you're good, you're going to build word of mouth and you're going to stay pretty full, but you need to so people will stop their advertising when they're full. I mean, you're full and people are coming to you and you're like, I don't have any space. Thank you for the like, by the way. If you're full and you can't take anybody, your natural inclination is to stop your advertising, because you're like, well, I'm advertising and people are coming to me and I can't fill those beds. But advertising, it takes time, like some of these larger companies, they're just consistently branding. And somebody could see your marketing piece, your advertising piece, and they may not act on it for 2 years because mom doesn't need any help. Mom's fine. 2 years later, but you planted the seed that there's an assisted living facility nearby and we provide all these great services in a home-like environment. And 2 years later, mom trips, falls, breaks her hip. She's in the rehab and they say, you cannot go home. And all of a sudden they're scrambling because they have 15 days because their time is up in the rehab and they need to go find a place. But they remember that there's a place in the neighborhood or nearby. But if you weren't advertising, then you wouldn't be building on that pipeline. And you just need to figure out your budget and plan accordingly and spread it out. So I hope this helped. I want to say it again. Subscribe to the other YouTube channel. There's a link in the chat box. There'll be a link down under the video. We have 2 channels, My ALF Training, My ALF Consultant. Okay, they do serve 2 separate purposes. That was the idea. One was more about the business side of things. One is more training related stuff. But I feel like people will miss out if I post something here and not there. And consider coming to our live business training in January, and then we'll be doing it probably every quarter. Right now, it's a 1-day training. The first number of people are going to get a really, really good deal. Subscribe. Going to get a very good deal for 8-hour training. You're not going to find it. And we're not trying to sell you a bunch of other stuff. We're just trying to help you. And we're trying to figure out how we can provide services that help people. That's a win-win. Win for us, win for our other consultant trainer who's going to be there, Sheila, who runs an ALF. She may offer an upgrade to come visit her facility, give you a tour, hands-on experience. I don't know how else you'd get that except by coming to this event. And so I think we're going to do January, March, something in the summer. We'll be, for those who come to the event, we'll be creating a private Facebook group that you can further connect and help each other out. and don't rush in anything. Don't put anything under contract. Don't kick your tenants out of your properties if they're there and they're paying. Keep them paying. Don't let work if you're going to turn this rental property into an assisted living facility. Think about it. Doesn't mean just because you have a rental property that it actually makes sense as an assisted living facility. Okay. I talked to a lady the other day. She has a property and it's 7 bedrooms, but guess what? It's 2-story. I don't know how many places that succeed with 2 stories, unless all the bedrooms are on the downstairs and they've got a master upstairs, which you could use as an office or live-in quarters for staff or something like that. So I think that's all for now. Anybody have any questions? Post it in the comments. I'll try my best to answer things. I hope to see you at our live event. And, this is a great opportunity. If you're interested in starting your own group home or assisted living or residential assisted living or whatever you want to call it, I think it's a very good path if you want to take care of people. And, I know a lot of successful people. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a hands-on business, right? You're not just going to, it's not a rental property. It's not a vending machine. It's a serious business, very rewarding, and we can help you figure out, first of all, if it's right for you, if you have the ability to do it, help you figure out the right location, and we've got a great team and a great program, and we're going to be rolling out a lot. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for coming, and hope to see you in January.